Warren Buffett once said something that quietly shocked a lot of people. Most people don't stay broke because they earn too little. They stay broke because they spend wrong. Think about it. How many things do you buy each month that feel normal, but never actually move your life forward? New upgrades, convenience spending, small rewards you swear you deserve. They don't feel dangerous, but over decades, they quietly erase wealth. That's why Warren Buffett's spending habits look so strange to most people. He's one of the richest investors in history, yet he avoids the same purchases millions of people make without thinking, not because he's cheap, but because he understands simple math most people ignore. In this video, we're counting down 10 things most people spend wrong, the silent wealth killers hiding in plain sight. These aren't extreme sacrifices, they're everyday decisions that quietly decide whether money compounds for you or against you. And we're starting at number 10, a spending habit almost everyone has, and almost no one questions. Stay with me, because once you see it, you can't unsee it. Number 10, the hidden cost of impulse purchases. Impulse buys quietly drain your future wealth. Most people don't think of impulse purchases as dangerous. They're small. They feel harmless. A coffee on the way to work, a quick online order because it was on sale, a tap of the screen, and the money is gone. But Warren Buffett's spending habits reveal something important. Wealth isn't destroyed in big dramatic moments. It's lost in quiet, emotional decisions repeated over and over again. Impulse buying isn't really about the item. It's about emotion, stress, boredom, convenience. Marketers understand this better than most investors ever do. Here's the simple math most people ignore. Spending $20 here and $30 there doesn't feel like much. But done consistently, it can easily add up to several $1,000s a year. Money that never gets the chance to be invested. Money that never compounds. Buffett has often said that successful investing requires discipline and patience. Impulse spending works in the opposite direction. It rewards short-term pleasure while quietly stealing long-term progress. Wealthy people don't eliminate enjoyment. They delay it. They pause before spending and ask a simple question. Does this grow my future or just satisfy the moment? Because once you see impulse purchases for what they really are, you realize they're not small at all. And this is only the beginning, because the next spending mistake is even more common and far more dangerous. Number 9. Lifestyle creep kills wealth by stealth. Your income shouldn't dictate your lifestyle. One of the most dangerous money traps doesn't feel like a mistake at all. It feels like progress. You get a raise, a bonus, a better job, and slowly, almost automatically, your spending rises to meet it. A nicer apartment, more dinners out, upgraded subscriptions, better clothes. Nothing reckless, nothing extreme. This is lifestyle creep. And it's one of the biggest reasons high earners still live paycheck to paycheck. Warren Buffett's spending habits show the opposite approach. As his income grew, his lifestyle barely changed. Not because he couldn't afford more, but because he understood a powerful rule. Wealth is created in the gap between what you earn and what you spend. The problem with lifestyle creep is that it steals that gap quietly. Every raise gets absorbed. Every extra dollar disappears into better versions of the same life, and suddenly, there's nothing left to invest. What makes this trap so dangerous is that it feels deserved. You worked harder, you earned more. So upgrading feels logical, but the money that could have built freedom is now funding comfort. Wealthy people let income rise without letting spending follow. They upgrade their investments before they upgrade their lifestyle. And if you're not careful, even good things can become wealth traps. Because the next mistake looks practical, but quietly locks your money in the wrong place. Number 8. The new gadgets that don't grow your net worth. That shiny new gadget? It's a wealth leak. Technology companies are brilliant at one thing, convincing you that what you own is suddenly outdated. A faster phone, a thinner laptop, a new feature you didn't know you needed until the ad told you. Most people upgrade not because their device stopped working, but because something newer exists. Here's the problem. Technology depreciates faster than almost anything you can buy. The moment you open the box, its value starts dropping. Within a year or two, it's worth a fraction of what you paid, and that lost value is permanent. You don't get it back. Warren Buffett's spending habits make this painfully clear. He treats technology as a tool, not a trophy. If it works, it stays. If it doesn't, it's replaced, not upgraded for status or novelty. The real cost of constant upgrades isn't the price tag, it's the opportunity cost. Every $1,000 spent chasing the latest gadget is $1,000 that doesn't get invested, doesn't compound, and doesn't build your future. What makes this habit so dangerous is how normal it feels. Everyone does it, everyone justifies it. But over decades, those small upgrades quietly cost hundreds of thousands in lost growth. Wealthy people don't chase trends. They let trends fund their investments. And the next habit? It's even more insidious because it pretends to be an asset. A car isn't an investment, it's a timer. Most people use the word asset far too loosely. If it's expensive, they assume it must be valuable. But price and wealth are not the same thing. Cars are the clearest example. The moment you drive one off the lot, its value starts ticking down. Not slowly, rapidly. Year after year, it becomes worth less, no matter how carefully you treat it. Warren Buffett's spending habits reflect a simple truth. If something takes money out of your pocket and gives nothing back, it isn't an asset. It's a cost. A necessary one sometimes, but still a cost. The same applies to boats, recreational toys, and luxury items people buy to feel successful. They don't generate income. They don't compound. They demand insurance, maintenance, storage, and constant attention. The danger isn't owning these things. It's believing they help you build wealth. When people tie up large amounts of money in depreciating items, they lose flexibility. That capital can't be invested. It can't grow. It just sits there, shrinking. Wealthy people buy tools that serve a purpose and keep the rest of their money working elsewhere. They separate lifestyle from investing. Because once you understand this distinction, you start asking a more important question. What if the biggest wealth mistake isn't what you buy, but how you think about money in the first place? Cash in the bank isn't working for you. Most people believe they're being responsible by holding large amounts of cash. They call it saving. They feel safe seeing the number sit there, unmoving. But safety and progress are not the same thing. Warren Buffett's spending habits and investing habits highlight a simple reality. Money that just sits still slowly loses power. Inflation quietly eats away at it every year. You don't see the damage day to day, but over time, it's very real. Saving is important. You need a buffer. You need stability. But beyond that point, extra cash becomes a form of hoarding. Here's the issue. Money grows only when it's put to work. When it's invested in productive assets, businesses, markets, or systems that compound over time. Cash does none of that. It waits, and while it waits, its purchasing power shrinks. This is where many people get stuck. They delay investing because they want to feel ready. More savings, more certainty, less risk. Wealthy people think differently. They separate safety money from growth money. They keep enough cash to sleep well and put the rest where it can grow. Because real wealth isn't built by protecting every dollar. It's built by deploying them intentionally. And there's a smarter way the wealthy handle cash flow, one that changes how they spend altogether. Status symbols don't pay dividends. A lot of spending has nothing to do with enjoyment or usefulness. It's about signaling, showing success, keeping up, the expensive car, the designer brand, the upgraded lifestyle that looks impressive from the outside. Warren Buffett's spending habits are almost boring by comparison. And that's the point. He never felt the need to prove his wealth through purchases, because he understood something most people miss. Status spending creates the appearance of success while quietly delaying the real thing. When money is spent to impress others, it stops working for you. It turns into depreciation, maintenance, and ongoing costs. The funds that could have been invested now exist only to maintain an image. What makes this trap so powerful is social pressure. People don't want to feel left behind. They don't want to look unsuccessful, so they spend more than they should, often on things they don't even care about. Wealthy people flip the script. They let their bank accounts grow quietly, while their lifestyle stays modest. They don't compete with neighbors or coworkers. They compete with their own past decisions. Real wealth is invisible for a long time, and that's why most people never build it. Now let's talk about the most common wealth trap of modern life: one that feels small, but never really is. Small charges feel cheap until they cost thousands. A few dollars here, $10 there. Charges so small you barely notice them leaving your account. Subscriptions are designed to disappear into the background of your life. Streaming services, apps, memberships, convenience fees, monthly upgrades you signed up for and forgot about. Individually, they feel harmless. Together, they become expensive. Warren Buffett's spending habits are built around simplicity. He avoids ongoing costs that don't clearly add long-term value. Because recurring expenses don't just take money once, they take it over and over again. The danger isn't the price, it's the repetition. A $50 monthly habit doesn't sound serious, but over a year, that's $600. Over a decade, $6,000. And that's before considering what that money could have become if it had been invested instead. Habit spending works quietly. It never triggers pain. It never feels like a decision, but it steadily reduces the cash available for building assets. Wealthy people review their expenses regularly. They cut aggressively, not to feel deprived, but to stay in control. They prefer intentional spending over automatic spending, because money that leaves your account without thought never has the chance to grow. And this next habit is the opposite of what most people do. It feels uncomfortable at first, but it's one of the most powerful wealth builders of all. Delayed gratification compounds richer than income. Most people, think wealth comes from earning more, a higher salary, a better job, maybe even a lucky break. But Warren Buffett's spending habits actually point to a different truth. Wealth is built by waiting. Delayed gratification is all about choosing long-term growth over short-term pleasure. It's the decision to invest today instead of spending now. And while it might feel small in the moment, over time it becomes incredibly powerful. Every dollar you don't spend is a choice. It can buy something that fades, or it can be invested and quietly multiply. The reason this habit creates millionaires isn't just discipline alone, it's compounding. Money invested early and consistently has time to grow on top of itself. Income stops when you stop working. Compounding doesn't. Most people reverse the order. They spend first, then try to invest what's left, if anything remains. Wealthy people do the opposite. They invest first, then whatever's left becomes lifestyle. This delay can feel uncomfortable. It often means saying no when others say yes, skipping upgrades, ignoring trends, and letting money work quietly instead of consuming it loudly. But over decades, this single habit outweighs almost every other financial decision. You might think you know the next mistake, but most people are wrong, because it hides inside good intentions. Just because you want it doesn't mean you need it. Most spending decisions aren't logical, they're emotional, wrapped in comfort, convenience, and habit. People rarely say, "I want this." They say, "I need this." A bigger home, a newer phone, faster upgrades, better versions of things that already work. Warren Buffett's spending habits draw a sharp line between needs and wants. He focuses on function, not feeling. If something serves its purpose, replacing it becomes unnecessary, even if everyone else is doing it. The problem isn't wanting things. Wanting is human. The problem is when wants are disguised as needs. Once that happens, spending becomes automatic and unquestioned. Social pressure makes this worse. When everyone around you upgrades, it feels risky not to. When lifestyles rise, staying still feels like falling behind. So people spend to stay normal. But normal is expensive. Wealthy people challenge their assumptions. They pause before buying and ask a simple question. Does this solve a real problem, or just make me feel better for a moment? That pause is powerful. It turns spending into a choice instead of a reflex. Because when you stop treating wants like needs, money starts accumulating quietly in the background. And the number one wealth killer? Few people see it coming, even when it's shaping every decision they make. Rich people don't compete with their neighbors. The fastest way to destroy wealth isn't buying the wrong thing, it's trying to live someone else's life. Comparison quietly shapes spending. You see what others drive, where they live, how they travel, and without realizing it, your financial goals start chasing their lifestyle. Warren Buffett's spending habits are powerful because they're inward-focused. He never measured success by what others owned. He measured it by freedom, flexibility, and long-term security. When spending is driven by comparison, it never ends. There's always someone with more, a bigger house, a better car, a more impressive life on social media. Matching it requires constant spending and constant stress. This trap is especially dangerous because it feels invisible. People don't think they're competing. They think they're just keeping up. But keeping up costs far more than most people realize. Wealthy people choose a different scoreboard. They compare today's decisions with yesterday's ones. Are they spending less emotionally, investing more intentionally, building more freedom? Once you stop measuring yourself against others, money changes role. It becomes a tool, not a signal, a resource, not a ranking. And here's the mindset shift that flips the whole script. When you stop trying to look rich, you finally give yourself the chance to be rich. None of these mistakes feel dangerous on their own, and that's exactly why they work so well. Impulse spending, lifestyle creep, status purchases, comparison. Individually, they look harmless, but together, they quietly decide who builds wealth and who doesn't. Warren Buffett's spending habits aren't about deprivation, they're about clarity, knowing what actually matters, and ignoring everything else. Wealth isn't built by one big decision, it's built by hundreds of small ones made consistently over time. Spend less on things that don't compound. Invest more in things that do. If this changed how you see money, subscribe for more long-term thinking. And hey, comment below, which habit are you cutting first?